All right, welcome back to section three. And this will be done in one part, pretty short today. You will have a little quiz at the end to do on Google Forms, so please make sure you do that as well. So, Nixon's greatest achievement came in foreign policy. He helped to ease Cold War tensions, establish ties to Communist China, and strengthened relations with the USSR. So, Nixon overall, as the domestic programs, as we talked about yesterday, really wasn't super successful with a whole lot of things. Really didn't do a lot of good things for the country domestically. Foreign policy wise, though, Nixon would be very, very strong. And that would be due to the help of one man. And that man is Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, who greatly influenced Nixon's decisions and was an expert at using the media to manipulate public opinion. Kissinger believed in realpolitik, or a practical politics that led a nation to make decisions on maintaining strength rather than clinging to rigid moral values. So instead of holding on to these moral values that we've had forever, we're now going to make foreign policy decisions based on what's best for our country. And he received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1973 along with North Vietnam's Le Duc Tho, and became one of the most admired men in America now. And Nixon's greatest accomplishment, though, would be foreign policy wise, would be détente, which is a relaxation of tensions between the United States and the communist nations of both China and, sorry, and the USSR. And by using Kissinger's skills and secret diplomacy, Nixon used the rivalry between the two nations to promote American standing in the world. So, in other words, he's going to kind of pit both sides against each other, as far as China and the USSR, who do not like each other as it is, to get more things out of it for the United States. And so Nixon reversed our hostile policy towards Communist China. Before 1970, the United States ignored the existence of Communist China, which is mainland China, and supported the Taiwan government of Jiang Zeshi. After 1970, Nixon used realpolitik to establish a better relationship with China. He lifted travel restrictions in the trade embargo and allowed Communist China to replace Nationalist China in the United Nations Security Council. Nixon would also become the first US president to ever travel to China. And he used our growing friendship with China to put pressure on the Soviet Union now. So, because the US is basically able to get along with Communist China now, he's going to use that to help negotiate with the Soviet Union. And Nixon also would visit the Soviet Union in 1972 to meet with the Soviet Premier Leonid Brezhnev, and the two leaders would agree to work together to explore space, ease trade limits, and completed negotiations on a weapons pact. And so Nixon was worried about proliferation or the increase in the number of nuclear weapons in the world and was seeking to back away from brinksmanship. In other words, the US and the USSR are getting to the point we're getting to the point where it's getting pretty close to both countries starting to shoot nuclear weapons at each other. And so to deal with this, and so remember that's called brinksmanship, we're basically going up to the edge of war without actually doing that. So Nixon wants to walk away from that line a little bit. And the Limited Test Ban Treaty of 1963 would end testing of new bombs above the ground, but underground testing of bombs would still continue. And in 1972, the two nations agreed on SALT I, which is a strategic arms limitations treaty that limited offensive nuclear weapons and restricted the development and deployment of anti ballistic missile defense systems. Um, and so basically, the whole point of having those anti-ballistic missile defense systems and like restricting the development of those is we are trying to basically keep the fear that we are still vulnerable to attack around to prevent others from attack using their missiles because they can't be attacked more or less, if that makes sense. And so, though it was a step forward, Assault 1 would do little to decrease weapon stockpiles or to stop improvement of existing weapons systems. And Kissinger vowed to respect limits, but also to improve our existing military defense systems so as not to fall behind in technology. So that is the end of section 3. So like I said, super short today. Get outside, enjoy the nice weather. But first, make sure you do take the quiz that is in the description of this video.